I'm Coralie Feniello, the producer of Little Nightmares 3. We have been delighted by the reception of the announcement of Little Nightmares 3, and we thought we would express our thanks by answering some of the questions of the community and giving you more information about the game. Little Nightmares 3 is a brand new adventure in the world of Little Nightmares. Because of that, you will not need to play the previous game in order to enjoy Little Nightmares 3. If you did, you will be able to find some nods and some secrets that will link all the stories together. As the previous games, Little Nightmares 3 takes place in the nowhere, which is the nightmares place of Little Nightmares. While you have been able to escape from the moon in Little Nightmares 1 and to go through the Bay City in Little Nightmares 2, you will be able to go through the spiral this time in Little Nightmares 3. The spiral is a cluster of disturbing places, like for example the necropolis that you might have seen in the walkthrough video. Each of the chapters will have their own locations, their own enemies, and their own threats. As for the relationship between the characters and the different games in the timeline, we will let you make theories about that once the game has released. The necropolis is the first part of the spiral that you will be able to explore in Little Nightmares 3. It is a peculiar place that has been raised from the desert sand and powered by gusting winds. It has been described as a city of eternal energy and certain death. It used to be inhabited by the dwellers, but now the ancient metropolis is more of a ghost town. All that is left is sand, ruins, some disturbing statues, and forever turning windmills. Exploring the necropolis, the players will be able to find moments of life frozen in time, vestige of the past, and maybe discover what happens to this place and who used to live here. But not everything is dead in the necropolis. Apart from some crows and some defensive beetles, it is also the hometown of the Monster Baby. Monster Baby is one of the new residents of Little Nightmares 3. Her size, clumsiness, and curiosity would be a great danger for the players, and you will have to escape from her grasp and her gaze. She might also have something to do with what happened to the necropolis and to the inhabitants. For the first time in the franchise, you will be able to experience Little Nightmares in online co-op. You can play either low or alone with your friend. You will be able to invite people from your friend list, meaning that you can choose with who you want to play. Even if they are not on the same generation of console as you, so you can play PlayStation 5 with PlayStation 4, Xbox Series with Xbox One. In order to allow more people to play together, we are integrated a Friends Pass feature, allowing you to play with a friend even if they don't own the game. To make sure people feel immersed in the world of Little Nightmares, we have decided not to integrate any voice chat, but you will be able to use your favorite one to discuss with your friend. You will also have access to a call button to call your friends' characters in a typical Little Nightmares fashion. That being said, if you are more of a solo player, don't worry, you will also be able to experience the full game in single player. You will be able to play either low or alone and do the full adventure with them. You will also have access to multiple save slots that will let you have several playthroughs ongoing at the same time with different characters, both in single player and multiplayer. Obviously, as we just mentioned it, the co-op is a new feature that will allow you to face your childhood fears together. But that's not all. Little Nightmares 3 is not shy of novelty. You will be able to discover the spiral, which is a brand new place in the world of the nowhere. Little Nightmares 3 also has a whole new cast of residents and smaller enemies. You will also be able to meet two new characters, Lo and Alone. Lo is here since a long time now, but he has never lost hope in finding a mythical place that will allow him to go back home. Alone is Lo's best friend. She is an incredible tinkerer, she is very curious, and she is always trying to find secrets about the spiral. Each of them will have their own set of iconic items, so Lo has the bow and arrow and Alone has the wrench. They will be able to use them in order to solve puzzles, to find their way through the world, but also to defend themselves against small enemies. In addition to that, your journey through the spiral will make you stumble upon objects that will allow you to continue your journey. You may have noticed, for example, the umbrella that you can see in the trailer. Little Nightmares franchise has a very particular and unique type of horror that we call charming horror. It is more a psychological and disturbing type of horror, but it always has a spark of light or hope that is coming from the children as they remain kids in a world that is not fit for them. Little Nightmares 3 will keep that same type of horror and make you see a disturbed world through a child perspective. The necropolis, for example, is the first chapter of the game. It has warmer tone and color, but still has a dark narrative behind it. Each chapter of the game has different mood and settings that you might have spotted in our trailer. Lo and Alone are two best friends, and in a world as scary as the nowhere, who wouldn't want to be able to hold hands to get some comfort and courage to face that world? Well, only you guys will be able to tell us once you finish the game, but for that, you will have to wait a little bit more.
And will release in 2025. You will be able to play both in online co-op or in single player with an AI. You can play either Lo or alone. There are two friends trapped within the spiral, a cluster of disturbing places, and will have to escape the nowhere. If you have seen the trailer, you might have noticed that the night has fallen on the necropolis. I love the novelty and the tension that it brings to this chapter, but I don't want to spoil you too much, so I will let you discover it by yourself. Lo and Alone both have their own iconic items. So Lo has a bow and arrow and Alone has a wrench. But you will also be able to stumble across new items during the different chapters, like the umbrella in Necropolis that will let you go through the gusting winds of the ruined city. It's hard to choose. I do love them both. But if I really have to choose one, I would say Alone, because she is both strong and cute at the same time. But what I really like is the interactions between the two characters and the way they care for each other. My worst childhood fear was the unknown, especially at night, because sleeping in a new place was always triggering new nightmares. Some of you might have heard that we have several weird places in the spiral. The necropolis is one of them that we focused on last year at the Gamescom, but we'll soon reveal more about the new chapters. Lo is one of our two new characters. He is in the spiral since a long time now, but he has never lost hope in finding a way to go back home. Alone is an incurable tinkerer. She is very curious and trying to find all the secrets about the nowhere. She is Lo's best friend as well. Lo and Alone are trapped in a place that we call the spiral. It is a cluster of dystopian lands, and they will have to work together to survive in a world full of dangerous delusions and to escape from an even greater threat that is lurking in the shadows. Monster Baby is the main enemy of our first chapter, the Necropolis. She is a big baby. That makes her very clumsy and very dangerous. For the first time in the franchise, Little Nightmares will be playable in online co-op. You will be able to play Little Nightmares 3 with a friend and face your childhood fears together. Little Nightmares 3 is a brand new entry in the world of Little Nightmares. You will not need to play Little Nightmares 1 or 2 to enjoy the third game. But if you did, players will be able to see some nods from the previous games. The podcast The Sounds of Nightmares tells the story of Noon. She is a little girl in the Psychiatric Institute of the Counties. She is with Otto, the counselor, and the counselor will make her tell the stories of all her nightmares and try to find a way to understand the secrets of the nowhere.
Little Nightmares 3 is an upcoming puzzle platform horror adventure game developed by Supermassive Games and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment, marking the third main installment in the critically acclaimed Little Nightmares series. Scheduled for release on October 10th, 2025, the game will be available on multiple platforms, including PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and PC. This entry represents a notable shift in development, as it is the first in the franchise not helmed by Tarsier Studios. Instead, development duties have been passed to Supermassive Games, renowned for their narrative-heavy horror experiences such as Until Dawn and The Dark Pictures Anthology, bringing a new flavor of cinematic tension and emotional depth to the franchise. The narrative centers around two new child protagonists, Lo and Alone, who find themselves trapped within the haunting dimension of the nowhere. A surreal and hostile world full of distorted physics and towering, monstrous inhabitants. Unlike previous entries that focused on solitary journeys, Little Nightmares 3 introduces online cooperative gameplay for the first time in the series. Players can traverse the world together online, or play solo with an AI-controlled companion. This new mechanic opens the door for more complex environmental puzzles and character-specific interactions, requiring strategic use of each protagonist's unique tools. Lo wields a bow and arrow, useful for ranged interactions and distractions, while Alone utilizes a wrench, allowing for physical manipulation of objects and machinery. These distinct abilities create fresh layers of cooperative problem solving, tension, and exploration. Set in a meticulously crafted 2.5D world, the game unfolds across a series of unsettling biomes within the spiral, a mysterious network of realms that each reflect twisted aspects of reality. Confirmed environments include the bone-dry desert necropolis, filled with insectoid enemies and ancient ruins, a mechanical, claustrophobic factory crawling with surveillance threats, and a grotesque fun fair warped by malfunctioning attractions and shadowy figures. The game continues the franchise's hallmark of using visual storytelling, environmental cues, and minimal dialogue to build an immersive psychological horror experience. Players must rely on stealth, timing, and intuition to evade or outwit bizarre and terrifying adversaries, including ominous beetles, sentient machines, and the monster baby, a grotesquely oversized infant whose unpredictable behavior adds high-stakes tension. Supermassive Games has also brought a cinematic flair to the experience, using dynamic camera angles, eerie lighting, and detailed animations to heighten the sense of dread and vulnerability. While maintaining the series' minimalist design philosophy, Little Nightmares 3 deepens the emotional resonance between its characters, portraying their bond as both a source of strength and sorrow in the face of overwhelming horror. The eerie, melancholic soundtrack and subtle sound design play a crucial role in setting the game's tone, with ambient cues hinting at nearby dangers or triggering emotional beats within the story. Originally announced for a 2024 release, the game was delayed to 2025 in order to refine the new gameplay systems and ensure a polished, atmospheric experience that lives up to fan expectations. As part of the broader narrative expansion, Bandai Namco has launched a tie-in podcast series, The Sounds of Nightmares, which delves into the backstory of the world and its tortured inhabitants. The podcast explores themes of trauma, memory, and fear, and has been praised for offering a deeper psychological perspective on the Little Nightmares universe. Little Nightmares 3 aims to honor the legacy of the series while expanding its creative boundaries through cooperative mechanics, layered storytelling, and a richer, more diverse world. With its combination of unsettling imagery, emotionally driven design, and suspenseful gameplay, the game promises to be one of the most atmospheric and memorable horror experiences of 2025, appealing to both longtime fans and newcomers alike. Now you can enjoy the screenshots without any interruption. Enjoy!